guys, Lord Pudge here, bringing you another Sorcery Contested Realm video. Today we are starting a new series called Journey Through the Rulebook, a beginner's guide to sorcery. So without further ado, let's get started. So throughout this series, I'm going to be bouncing between the rules here, and these are directly from the rulebook, and my table, and giving you a couple of real-life examples to kind of explain a little bit further and visually show you how some of these rules play out. So in a game of Sorcery Contested Realm, you interact with the realm as an avatar, which will allow you to cast spells that summon minions, conjure artifacts, and more. You will also explore the realm by adding site cards to the play area to expand your domain and empower you to cast even more devastating spells. So as you can see up on the screen, there are a few components that make up our deck. We have our spellbook, our atlas, and then our avatar, which again is us. Our spellbook is going to have our minions, our artifacts, our auras, everything but our sites, which is in our atlas, is going to be considered a spell and in our spellbook. Our atlas down below is going to consist of our sites, or our building blocks that help us create the map, provide mana, and also elemental affinity, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. Again, our deck is comprised of the atlas, spellbook, and avatar stated here in the deck section. It also discusses a little bit precons, which are just pre-constructed decks. I would recommend, if you're getting into the game, unless you have somebody helping you build a deck, to pick up a precon. There are 4 currently right now, 1 for each element, and it's a great way to get started. And finally on this page we have how to win. This is our condition to win the game. So in order to win, they must first defeat all opposing avatars and place them on death's door by reducing their total life to 0. Then they must deliver the final death blow to the dying avatar. So back to our board, here's just a quick visual representation of how this works. Don't get too overwhelmed, there's a lot going on. We're going to explain right now just death's door and the winning condition. So right here we have our avatar. Like we just read, our avatar is going to be us, and being so, our life, which is this number right here, is our life. Over here is our power rating. This is how much damage it could do, but right now I just want you to focus on this guy. So we have 20 life. There's no other avatars right now that are more than 20 life. All avatars, as of this filming, are at 20 life total. So throughout the game, you're going to be getting hit by magic, minions, whatever, and this number is going to be slowly dwindling down. We use a d20 to keep track of that, so I'd recommend picking up one if you don't have one. Another way that damage is dealt to you in this game real quick is through your sites. So you got to think of your sites as an extension of yourself. As you place these out, these pieces, and you build the board, same to your opponent, these are vulnerable to attack, specifically attack. So if a minion decides to attack a site and there's no blockers, we're going to get into that later, or defenders, that site takes damage and it takes it away from your total 20. So that is one way to whittle your opponent's health down throughout the game. Okay, so going back to our number, we've been getting hit the whole game. We drop it down, and hey, let's say we're at 1 now. We're getting real close to death's door. It's getting a little bit scary. It's our opponent's turn, and they're going to go ahead and do some damage. So again, let's pick up our frog. He's at 3. This is our power rating. This is both the attack and the health of your minions right here. He's going to be over here, and he's going to decide to attack our site because we have 1 health left. He can go ahead and do that. We have no blockers. We can't block. We decide, well, at that point, we're done. We're at death's door. Once we get to this, no more damage this turn can be done to us, so that's important to know. They do have another creature over there, the mermaids, that can hit us for 1 to this site, but because we just hit death's door, that's it. No more damage can be done. Really, they can look through their cards. They may play certain other things, but as far as attack, damage, whatever, it cannot be done. So they pass. It goes back to us. It is our turn. We are on death's door. We have to do something, but we are stuck in this position. You could only move across your sites in this game, your minions and you, unless they have void walk, and we'll talk about that later. But we're stuck right here. We can't go anywhere else. So at this point in the game, once you get to death's door, you can no longer get hit through your sites. So once it gets back to them, they can't attack one of our sites for the game. So if they have a mermaid here, they can't attack our site and end us once we're on death's door. They have to physically hit us. Well, not physically, but they do have to hit us to end the game. So be that magic, be that by minions, whatever the case, they have to actually hit us to end the game. That's why right now magic, it's a very good way to end the game. You throw a lightning bolt on somebody, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. So that's a little bit about Death's Door and the winning condition. So going back to our rulebook, we have game zones. In Sorcery Contested Realm, players share the main and biggest part of the play area, or the realm. So looking down at our picture, looking at our example, we see our 5x4 grid. We have 20 squares across the board. And then as it states, in the beginning of the game, in the beginning of each game, the realm starts off as an empty void waiting to be explored and claimed by your avatars. Diving into our Atlas and Spellbook decks, our Atlas needs to consist of at least 20 sight cards minimum, and our Spellbook needs to have at least 40 spell cards minimum to play a game. The rules also go into detail a little bit more, explaining how anytime you search through either of these, you must shuffle it afterwards. There are some cases where things need to be put on top or the bottom. If you are to do that in a specific order, then you do not shuffle it. Additionally, if you attempt to draw a card from an empty deck, your avatar immediately loses all life and is placed at death's door. And then we have our cemetery. Just like other trading card games, each player has a cemetery where they pile their own spent or discarded cards. There are going to be special cases where cards have to be banished, and those are completely removed from the game. So for example, Speaker, he has abilities where he summons things temporarily. They're immediately banished. So that's going to go into the banished spot, and that can be just on the side of the board. And then your hand. Your hand's a little bit unique in this game because in the beginning of the game, you're drawing 3 from your Spellbook and 3 from your Atlas. Both are going into your hand simultaneously. Alongside that, your Sorcerer is always going to be in that middle slot on the board, ready to go. And lastly, for part 1, we're going to be going over the 4 elements. So we're going to be backtracking a little bit here. But the 4 elements are very important, and I just wanted to cover those real quickly so you understand what they are, what they do, and why they're important to you. So we have fire, air, water, and earth. I would encourage you to learn these emblems as soon as possible just because you're going to see them all over the place. And this is just telling you what type that card is, what it brings, or what it requires. Also, under each of these, you see a short description. It tells you the play style of each of these cards. So if you're an aggro type player, you like aggressive, kind of quick, fast style minions, fire is going to be your choice. So going through here, kind of looking at what they have is a good way to choose what you want to play or what you want to start with. And that will wrap up part 1 of our new series, diving into the rule book and exploring how to play the game in a little more detail. I appreciate you guys sticking around until the end if you did. I know it's a little slow in the beginning, but as we build that foundation, things will start taking off a little bit. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and as always, we will see you guys next time.